Okay, we're going to use congruent triangles to prove corresponding parts congruent. So by definition, congruent triangles have congruent corresponding parts. So if we can prove the triangle is congruent, then we know all of their corresponding parts must be congruent. So the first thing is we're just going to review listing all the pairs of angles and sides that are congruent based on our congruence statement. So our congruent statement says triangle RST is congruent to XZY. So listing the angles, I know RST. So angle R is congruent to angle X. Angle S congruent to angle Z. And angle T congruent to angle Y. Likewise, with sides, RS is congruent to XZ. ST is congruent to ZY. And RT is congruent to XY. So do that with this second one. Pause the video and go ahead and list your 6 corresponding pairs. Okay, so again, you have to have the congruent triangles first, then you could say corresponding parts are congruent, and in a proof we're going to say corresponding parts congruent triangles congruent. It's called CPCTC. Okay, corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So if I want to say that C is congruent to F, and it's not marked, so it's not already congruent, I need to first say that the 2 triangles are congruent. So what do I have? Well, I have a 90-degree angle. So which theorem can I use strictly for right triangles but HL? So I might test that, because otherwise I have angle side side. There's no but theorem, as I like to call it. So that won't work. SSA doesn't exist. But I do have a leg and a hypotenuse. So this would be HL. And which triangles would be congruent? Triangle ABC congruent to triangle DEF. And the next one, again, I do have a right triangle, but I only have one side. So I see that I have angles there and a side there. So I have angle, angle, side. Which 2 triangles are congruent? Triangle, I'll start with TSR, and then it would be LMN. Looking at the next one, how can I prove the 2 triangles congruent first? I have angle, side, angle. Oops. Which 2 triangles are congruent? Triangle CDE congruent to FHG. And this one, always mark your common side, reflexive property. So I do have side, side, side. which triangles? I have T, sorry about that, T, S, V, congruent to T, U, V. So before you can say corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent, which is what you would be using as a reason for saying this statement right here, okay, would be CPCTC. The only way you can say that is after you have congruent triangles. That must occur first. So looking at these, is there enough information given in the figure to show that the statement is true? So again, what am I looking for? I'm looking for congruent triangles. Do they exist? Well, I have the bow tie, which is vertical angles, and I do see that I have angle, side, angle. So I have angle, side, angle. Which two triangles are congruent? Make sure you write your congruent statement, get in that habit. M and P, so it went single, blank, double, single, R, blank, Q, double, P. If I look at the next one, I can mark that common side, but do I have any angles in this triangle at all? No angles marked. So this would just be no. Okay, and looking at this one, mark our common side. And looking at angle, angle, side. Angle, angle, side. And the two triangles that would be congruent, let's go single, double, G, H, F. Single, double would be E, F, H. We're going to finish with proof. Use the information given in the diagram to write a proof. We're trying to prove MN is congruent to TQ. Let me first say, after you have congruent triangles, your reason to say the next statement is going to be CPCTC. I already know that from the very get-go. After congruent triangles, its corresponding parts, congruent triangles, congruent. Okay, so let's look at this. First thing is MQ is congruent to TQ, so that's given. And I believe they're missing this statement up here.
New message is received from Lisa_YFCA.
MQ parallel to NT. That should also be given. Angle NTM, it's this angle, is congruent to QMP. Well, you have parallel lines, so this is alternate interior angles congruent. MT congruent to itself. It's a reflexive property. And now I have two triangles congruent, and what reason is that? One of our theorem or postulates, side, angle, side, HL, side, side, side. Angle, could be any one of those. And then, like I said, after we have congruent triangles, then your reason is corresponding parts, congruent triangles, congruent. How can you use congruent triangles to prove angles or sides congruent? Corresponding parts congruent triangles congruent. And this ends the lesson.